Hello, I'm glad to have had the chance to meet many of you during the Academy's recent Australian tour, graciously sponsored, of course, by Rover. On behalf of my fellow players and the Academy, I'd like to thank Rover for its support and, as a gesture of gratitude, dedicate this piece of music to another Rover classic,
trip down the River Thames, but in fact on the Thames at a place called Maidenhead, which is near Windsor. It's about 25 miles outside of London. And this little boat of mine, I've often had this sort of fantasy that one day I'd like to drive to work in it. In fact, it would take me about 24 hours to get to London by this means. Mind you, I've taken longer in the car on the M4. I mean, it was once described our M4 as being an 80-mile-an-hour traffic jam. This is a lovely old riverboat, in fact. It's built in the 1920s, 1930s. And I bought it and restored it. And it's got a lovely sort of style and feel of tradition about it, which is why I like it. Designed for the river, designed for an age, I suppose, that's gone, but just something about the quality that I like. And I thought we'd talk a little bit about the quality and lifestyle where I live before we get into the business of the kind of car I like and the kind of car I drive. Now, this part of the Thames Valley looks incredibly respectable, doesn't it? But there are lots of dirty doings and sordid goings on. In fact, Bray here, this is the village of Bray we're coming to now. And it was once said of Bray in the 1930s and 1940s, are you married or do you live in Bray? Things were that bad. They've cleaned up now, of course, or else we've got more discreet. It's also, it's a very extraordinary area, a strange mixture of styles here. For instance, here, that we're coming up to here, just behind that boat there, the Ballad, will come into view in a moment. Now this is the most beautiful restaurant in Britain. It's also possibly the most expensive, and some would say the best food is served here. It's called the Waterside, and it's owned by Michel Roux, who has the good sense to have an Australian wife, a Sydney girl called Robin. And that's where that is an arm and a leg restaurant, but you won't eat anywhere better in the world than that. And that's in the village of Bray. As you can imagine, this is a fairly desirable area to live in. I mean, if you've got the money, then it's okay. For instance, this house here just went about a month or two ago, sold for £1.5 million, $3 million. And down here, this is interesting actually, this house here, the White Half Timber Place, that's where my old mate Billy Connolly and Pamela Stevenson used to live. Now there you are, that's a nice house. If you actually just come back left here and look in the garden here, you'll see, which might give you a clue to who lives here, there's a totem pole there, right? Any clues? Well, in fact, it's your own Rolf Harris. That's where Rolf lives. Must do some money in playing the didgeridoo, eh? He's been there some time, Rolf, and he's a neighbour of ours. And just here, well, there's a rather nice house here. There's somebody called Parkinson lives there. We've been here actually for 20 years, and it's fascinating living on the river. At the weekends, it's a bit like living on a motorway. You know, it's popular, the boats go by, but on a day like this, there can't be any place on the planet, actually, that's nicer and more pleasant to live. And just one final house I want to show you down here. Just have a look at this. I mentioned earlier about the scandalous aspect of Bray as it used to be many years ago. Well, in fact, more than 50 years ago, a royal prince built this house here for his mistress. And at the end there's a secret door which leads directly to the bedroom above. Apparently he used to nip down from the palace and nip upstairs and do his dirty deeds and then nip home again. All right, so that's Bray. Now, as I said, that's the place where I live. And the reason why we're taking you on this conducted tour and showing you the boat is to give you some idea of the kind of place I like to live in, the kind of boat I like to drive. It's about lifestyle, I suppose, really. And it's to give you an indication of what kind of qualities I want from the kind of car I drive. Now, with the magic of this wonderful medium we're working in, if I go like that, my director can cut from this idyllic scene in the river to the back of our house. Change of scene, change of weather, British climate. But not a change in the subject matter. We were talking about things of tradition, of quality, and style. That's what I look for also in my car. This is the car I choose to drive. It's the new Vitesse. It's got all those ingredients of quality and style that I want and tradition. And also when you ally that to the modern technology, then you've got this, which I think is a very, very good car indeed. Let's go for a little sort of spin at it, and I'll tell you all about it. That's a no seatbelt. And away we go. The Rover Vitesse is the latest achievement for the Rover company, and as far as I'm concerned, it carries the unmistakable stamp of British engineering integrity. The words technology with tradition are a very apt description of what this car embodies. The Rover name has been a significant part of British engineering history for more than 100 years, and the spirit of Rover's tradition, its ability to embrace new concepts and challenges, to introduce new technology, is represented by this very tangible example, the Vitesse. This car is uniquely British and uniquely Rover. It's well designed, it's practical, and I like its high degree of comfort, of equipment and performance. Just in case you're wondering, this is my car. It's the car I choose to drive for all the reasons that I've just listed. But I'm really impressed with the job the Rover engineers did in designing the overall package.
The Vitesse was produced in Europe's most modern computer-aided environment. It's a high-tech product, and it's thoroughly contemporary. But with the Vitesse, Rover has successfully blended the latest technology with traditional British saloon car qualities. The result is a car with a luxurious ambience which gives away nothing to its competitors in performance, comfort, and satisfaction.
The whole experience has to be satisfying. You have to be able to live with the car. I find the Vitesse very easy to live with when I'm darting to and from London to work for my new TV show, or when I have a long drive up country to a speaking engagement. The Vitesse is very satisfying to drive. Its performance is excellent. It's very responsive, both in terms of the engine and the handling. It's very comfortable, and I like the leather seats, the driving position, the climate control, and the excellent stereo. Driving anywhere today can be a pain, whether it's London and the M1 or Sydney and the F4. If I have to do it, I want to do it in style and in comfort. The blokes in charge of ride and handling have achieved excellent balance with the Vitesse. It turns in nicely, it's stable, and whilst it's taut, the ride is great. I can hurry along quite happily. I'm confident of the car's composure and response. Mind you, this is only one person's point of view, but this Vitesse is an impressive car. It reminds you, in fact, of some of Rover's more recent achievements, like the Rover 3500 and the Range Rover. Both those vehicles were victories for common sense, practicality, and British design. With the 3500, Spen King brought design back to basics compared to some of the complex cars he'd been involved with.
I thought a simpler approach was needed, but while the design concept was less complex, I still wanted a comfortable car which was practical, offered good performance, and in terms of interior appointments, ride and handling, it qualified as a prestige sporting saloon, which at the same time was very versatile.
I think the same is now true of the 827 Vitesse. Roy Axe and his team brought to the fastback all the subtlety and sophistication evident in the Rover Sterling. The interior is full of consideration for the driver and passengers, and yet it retains a pleasant ambience. It's a nice office to conduct the business of driving.
The fastback version was an integral model in the 800 range from day one. I wanted the Vitesse to work efficiently, dynamically speaking, but I also wanted it to look stylish without going completely over the top with body kits. I'm confident we've achieved our goal. It looks fast, but it's eminently sensible, and it's fun to drive.
Like the Range Rover, the Vitesse has got practical qualities. I mean, it's a full five-seater, it's 4 doors. But more than that, it's a stylish symbol of success. The Vitesse, in fact, is a car that I'm happy to drive and to be seen in.
Introducing the Rover 827 Vitesse.
Du hast einige Leute ziemlich verblüfft in der Firma.
Oh ja? Warum?
Darum. Wenn ich die Wahl hätte...
Ich mag einfach die Art, wie er gebaut ist.
Ich verstehe, was du meinst. Schnell?
In England nennen sie es Fastback. Wann musst du bei der Staatsgalerie sein?
Wir kommen gut voran.
Faszinierendes Gebäude, nicht?
Ja, stimmt.
Britischer Architekt.